Up until now, we've been reading data directly from the console using the scanner class. Now let's see how we can read data from a file. By importing the libraries included using the wildcard java.io.*. This allows us to read from a file, write to a file, or even create a new file. In this program, we will read possible replies to a random question asked by the user, a type of fortune teller program. To open and read from a file, we need to follow these steps. Step 1 is to create a file object that specifies the file name including the extension. Right here I have file, input file. Input file is my variable name, equals new file, and the name of my file is answers.txt. Let's take a quick look at that file. Right now it has 10 random answers. These are the answers that the program will use to reply to the customer's question. I do want to point out that the file has to be in the same location as the build XML file. Okay, let's go back to our program. The next thing I do is create an array list called answers of type string. And I'm going to use a random number generator to randomly select the answer. Let me scroll down a little bit. Step 2 in using files is to use the scanner class to declare an object that will allow me to read from the file. So on line 24, I have scanner input equals new scanner, and in parentheses, I have input file. Remember, that's the variable name that I gave my answers.txt file. Okay, let's finish walking through the program. After I create the scanner input, I can use that in my while loop to check and see if there's any more answers in the file. This is done using the hasNextLine command. So while input dot hasNextLine, meaning if there's more information in the file, I'll read that value into my variable called answer, and then I'll add that to my array called answers. For right now, I'm going to skip over the try and catch. I'll talk about that in a second. Down below, I added some code to allow the user to repeat the fortune-telling program, as well as I have a message that tells them the fortune teller is ready for you. Please think about your question in your mind and hit enter for your reply. When they hit enter, line 42 will read in the enter symbol. It just won't do anything with it. And then I'll print out the answer using the random number generator. Okay, before I run the program, let me just quickly talk about try and catch. Try and catch are required when you're working with files. They allow us to nicely handle an exception. So you can see here, I have the try right before the part where I try and read from the input file. What happens is if the input file does not exist, it'll fall into this catch portion, and it'll print out a message saying the file is not found, and it'll print out the information about the error. Okay, let's give our fortune teller program a try. All right, let's think of a question. Is it going to rain today? When I hit enter, the fortune teller says, without a doubt. Oh, bummer. Guess I need an umbrella. Okay, we're going to go ahead and say no here, but you could keep going if you wanted to. I want to go back to my program real quick and show you what would happen if I change the text file to just be answer.txt. This time, the program will not find the file. It starts out by saying the input file answers.txt was not found. It gave me an error saying java.io.filenotfound exception, answer.txt, the system cannot find the file specified. So that way we catch the error and it does not cause my program to abort. Okay, next let's take a look at an example program that writes to a file. Mine's called customer names. In this program, I'm going to ask the user to enter a list of customer names, and I'm going to save them to a file, so I have them for later use. I'm still including import java.io.*. In my program on line 19, I create a variable name called output that represents my file, and I give the file a name, customers.txt. It is important to mention that writing to a file that does not exist will create a new file. It will not cause an error. Also, if there already is a file, it will erase the contents and create an empty file. Okay, in my program, on line 21, I'm asking the user to enter in the customer name, and I still have a try and catch here to handle any unexpected errors. This is a little different. On line 24, I'm creating a print writer object, which is different than the scanner we were using earlier. This is what you'll use when you want to create files or write to files. I'm giving it a name of out. I have print writer out equals new print writer, and in parentheses, I have output, which is the name of my customers.txt file. When the user types in the word done, we'll get out. But until they do, I'm using line 27 to write the name to the output file. So I use the print writer object out.println, and in parentheses, I put name. I ask the user to type in any more names or done to exit. Now, line 31 is very important. Out.close. This closes the print writer file. If you forget to include out.close, chances are all of your information will still be in the buffer when your program ends, and when you open the file, it will be empty. So please keep that in mind. You want to make sure that if you're writing to a file, that you close the file before exiting your program. Let's run this program. I'm going to enter in the name of a few customers. Okay, now I'm going to type done. It says build successful, but at this point, I don't know. I need to go look at my file. So let's go to the Windows Explorer. I need to go back to NetBeans projects. I need to open up my customer names project, and there's my file. If I open up my customers file, you can see Peggy Fisher, Joe Smith, John Knapp, and Sue Sutherland are there. Hopefully, this helps you see how important it is to know how to read and write files in programming.